We tend to forget that we need to first belong to ourselves in order to belong and fit into how we can bring our gifts to a group, a team, the world, a business, whatever that looks like for you, the community, your family. And that was how my mom could best bring her gifts to teams, community, family, was first celebrating herself and feeling that sense of belonging right away.
You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified leadership trainer with the John Maxwell team and best-selling author of the book, Stay the Course, Dominic Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some wonderful tips and techniques to advance yourself coming up next. How's it going, my friend? It's your host, Dominic Dom Brightman here, just giving you a quick forewarning / disclaimer that, hey, these podcasts are recorded on average 2 to 3.5 months ahead of the release date. So if you're hearing today's episode, most likely it was recorded 2 to 3.5 months before it was launched. So just throwing it out there in case you hear something that may sound a little off. That's the reason why. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast. We got another super special, awesome human for you today, folks. That's right, indeed. Because not only is she a wonderful author, she's an award-winning author, y'all. So that's right, blue ribbons everywhere. And not only that, she's also a human connection catalyst, workplace strategist, and executive coach that helps leaders and teams shift mindset and behaviors to further impact relationships, revenue, and resiliency. So 3 R's, baby. So all the pirates are happy. And to put the icing on the cake with 3 cherries on top, she was also named one of 100 global thought leaders in the world, along with Susie Orman, Deepak Chopra, and Brendan Burchard. So let's give it up for the double H, not the triple H, Miss Holland Haiis. How you doing today, Holland?
I am so well, Dom. I'm so psyched for this conversation and to be here with you and to be here with your listeners. So really just filled with gratitude and cannot wait to jump in.
Yeah. I'm excited for this one. It's like, man, it's like one of the few guests that pops in with the same level of energy as the host, if not higher. It's like, oh, wow, all right, cool. I met my match. This is going to be great. This is going to be freaking amazing.
We're bringing it. We are bringing it today.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, as with all finished products, there was a process to getting to the finished, even though we're both unfinished yet. So how was it like getting to where you are today?
Oh my gosh. Well, when you put it like that, let's see, painful, arduous, long, exhausting. I think when we really look back, right, sometimes I have those moments, like so many of you do as well, where we stop and we say, wow, how did I even do that? How did I get from point A to point B? And then there are other times, point B to point D, super fast, super simple, super easy. And that's, I think, when we are applying the lessons that have been really hard to learn. So those long, arduous, stressful times, it's about searching a little deeper. It's about exploring a little bit more. It's about tapping the untapped. And then the magic starts to happen because we've been, it's kind of like the metaphor of a garden, right? It's really hard at first to, you've got to prepare the soil and you've got to sometimes germinate and prepare the seeds or grow something and start it inside first and then transfer it outside. And then you water and you fertilize, and maybe you have to cover it if the sun is too hot. And all of these steps that are long and seem like, oh my gosh, will I ever get my harvest? That happens with us as humans as well. And it certainly has happened with me. And then, the plant starts to grow, which is you, and you start to develop and you see things differently and you understand yourself better. And then you're able to take some of this magic that has felt so painful to get through those beginning steps. And you're able to now take that magic and start practicing. Start distributing that in the world, start engaging in a different way, start to feel as though you belong a little differently. And all of this starts to change the way you communicate, the way you lead, the way you are, the way you can be in the world, until we hit that next obstacle, that next stumbling block. And again, we may get through that very quickly, and it may take years. And then again, we experience the ease until there's some next level of discovery.
Yeah, next level indeed. Next level indeed. All the treasure hunting with the IJ, the Indiana Jones swag. But my goodness, it's like you said, two words that really stuck out to me, like belong differently. It's like in this journey of life, there's going to be growth, and sometimes we get to points where we don't belong in certain places no more because we've kind of outgrown those places, or they may not be used to the new us. So my goodness, like what was that process like for yourself? Because I've heard you have many careers. I think you even was an actress at one point, right?
Yes, yes. Well, belonging, I think a lot of us very often are driven to the arts for that community and for that belonging. And I know for me personally, that's what was lacking. And so you receive that with an ensemble. And I like to think of teams as ensembles as well. You know, in business, we are an ensemble. There is that leading actor, actress, there is, and sometimes that changes, and there are the character people, right? And there are the supporting leads, and there's the ensemble, and you need everyone in order to make it work. I mean, imagine if your supporting and your leads turned around on stage and said, "Oh, townspeople," and there were no townspeople, right? Right. The ensemble was like, "I'm just not going to do it today. I don't feel like it." Right. So, and it's similar at work. That's our team. And so the way we make them feel, the way we create belonging, feel if we belong, and again, it comes from a lot of different steps. That is what allows us to keep coming back for more, and that drive to want to be a part of something. And so for me, there was that desire and drive to be a part of something that was missing. And you know, it was learning that my quirks and my weirdness, and I definitely was the weird kid for sure. And I got to a point of realizing, yeah, this is who I am, and I'm okay with it. And it took decades. I don't want to make it sound like this was overnight. It took decades. And I really, quick story, my mom was really great at owning where she was different. And my brother and I, do you remember, and I don't know, this is all age contingent, when I was in junior high and high school, really funky, fun socks were in, and you got cool, fun socks, kind of like where we are now. You can buy really fun, cool socks. And then we went through this phase where nobody wore socks. And if you wore socks, it was kind of like people are like, "You're weird. You have socks on," right? Remember, like everything was sockless. My mom loved the jazzy socks. And so my brother and I would make fun of her that she was still wearing socks. And she just didn't care. And she'd say, "It's okay. You can laugh at me. This is what I do for me. It has nothing to do with you. And this is what makes me feel good." And it took me a long time and a lot of conversations with her to truly understand that magnificence of, I call it in my book, there's a week of celebrating your weird and what makes you different. And she would say to me, when I get up in the morning and you know, when it's time to get dressed, I open that drawer of those beautiful, colorful socks, and I pick out what I want. Am I in the mood for stripes? Does the smiley face jump out at me? Does, you know, and again, all the different options that she had. And whatever made her happy that day and jumped out, that's what she wore. And it uplifted her spirits right away and connected her to her gratitude, connected her to her gifts, connected her to optimism. So she was coming from her place of power right away at the beginning of the day, and not letting anyone else dictate that. So first she had belonging to herself. And we tend to forget that, right? We tend to forget that we need to first belong to ourselves in order to belong and fit into how we can bring our gifts to a group, a team, the world, a business, whatever that looks like for you, the community, your family. And that was how my mom could best bring her gifts to teams, community, family, was first celebrating herself and feeling that sense of belonging right away.
Ah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right, sock it to me, y'all. That's right indeed. Holland socking it to you, that goodness, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. And it sounds like she even gave you a taste of what to expect in her fabulous book. That's right indeed. So my goodness, she got this super special, awesome book called Consciously Connecting. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So my goodness, how did this book come about and what was the process like from start to finish of writing it to finally getting it out there and publishing it?
So for me, it was the journey of being unconscious to greater consciousness, and hence the title of Consciously Connecting. And so I was in New York City. I spent half the time living in New York City, half in DC. And I was leaving a client very close to Central Park, and it was spring. And who doesn't love to walk through any kind of park, let alone Central Park in the spring, right? The grass, the smell of the grass in spring, and the trees are blooming, and the cherry blossoms come out, and the daffodils. And for me, the world is in technicolor in the spring. I absolutely love it. And so I headed into southern part of the park, and I was walking to my next client. And somewhere after getting about 100 feet in the park, I don't know what happened other than I was on my device. And I ended up in the street. Now, there is a loop in the park that takes you all the way around the park internally. Taxi cabs are on that, Ubers are on that, personal vehicles. And then there's a bike and a pedestrian lane. Not only had I crossed the grass and had no consciousness and wearing heels, right? In the spring, you would dig into the grass. Don't remember that. Not only did I cross the bike and pedestrian lane, I ended up in a lane for cars, for vehicles. And I was on my device like we do, right? Because we're so cool and we have to stay connected all the time to technology because somebody somewhere might want us at that moment and they can't wait. And suddenly the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I got the chills that kind of came up my spine. And I started to look up from my device and caught the eye of a taxi cab driver he was out of his lane coming over into the bike and pedestrian. I had crossed the bike and pedestrian, and I was now in the vehicle lane. And so we were heading for a quote head-on collision. And I screamed and I jumped to the left, and I nearly fell and broke a heel. And of course it's new shoes, right? And my device went flying. Of course, it can't happen in your, old cruddy ones. And everything was kind of just here, there, and everywhere. And he swerved over into another lane. And it wasn't until about, I don't know, 70, 100 feet down the road that I heard honk, honk, honk. It was a delayed response. And I realized he was doing the same thing I was doing. And I gathered my things from the road, and I went and I sat under, a park bench, and really it was like dominoes in my brain of seeing things completely differently, realizing the power of technology, what it was doing to our brains. It took me to study and again, learn the science around all of that and the chemical interaction, the neuroscience piece, and had the idea for the book. And realized that if I was this unconscious in this area around technology, when normally I would have been focusing on the next client and what did I need to bring as far as professional development to the team that day? What were we going to do? I would be focusing on that on a beautiful walk and plugging in and connecting at all levels there. Instead, I was on my device. And so what other areas of my life was I also disconnected and thought I was so conscious and so connected. And so the idea for the book happened. And then, I woke up one morning and it was as if it were just being channeled. And I started writing, and, I think it was 6, 7 in the morning, and didn't finish, just kept going till midnight. Just sat in a chair, and it was just go time, and continued to work on it in that way.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. And glad you're still alive to tell the tale and
Yes.
share some gems.
Well, how many of us, so when you think about being unconscious, and I ask your listeners today, where are you the most unconscious in your life? Where do you believe that you have been or are plugged in? However, there's that feeling in your gut that you really don't want to do something, or you don't like it, or it makes you angry, or you feel cheated in some way, or you feel you're not properly compensated, which is a lot of the tumult that we're currently going through in the workplace. We're unable to step out of what we didn't want to do, right? Where we wanted to really disconnect. However, there was FOMO, that fear of missing out. So we continued going to parties with people we may not have cared for, going to networking events that we didn't really feel had value, or attending a brunch, or again, cocktails, whatever it was for each of you. And we all had those pockets and those areas. And really what the pandemic did is it forced us to have a reset. The reset that as human beings, we were not willing to take ourselves. The pandemic has forced us to have that reset as the world shut down, and reevaluate where our priorities are, where our values are, where we were disconnected from those priorities and values. And that is what the book does in bite-sized pieces. Very small, very concise, week by week. And it's more about being and less about doing.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Yeah, cause like early in the show, there's a guest that mentions like, "Hey, be a human doing," or actually, but it be a human becoming. It's like kind of combining both in the whole being piece of human being. It's like, hey, sometimes we just need to be because we're so disconnected but connected at the same time into something else, but we're unconscious when we're in certain areas of life. Heck, even maybe even family life. It's like we're so career driven that we're conscious in that area but unconscious when it comes to family life. So my goodness, sounds like it's got some powerful stuff indeed, and it's good that you're all about helping folks to get reconnected again in this wonderful time of disconnection that we're really in.
Well, we're so busy doing that we're missing the knowingness. And when we know ourselves, that's where we can best be. If you do not know yourself, how on earth can you lead a business? How can you lead a team? How can you serve clients when you haven't done the work on yourself? If you're disconnected from yourself, how can you possibly provide the connection that is needed at the level? Everyone, I work with so many folks, entrepreneurs, and those who are in large corporations, Fortune 500s, and everyone is looking to level up. And level up is different for each person. Level up may be that I want to be a better employee and be more connected to the mission, vision, values of the organization and understand how it aligns for me. For someone else, they want to rise in the corporate ladder. For someone else, they want to leave corporate and they want to start their own business. So leveling up is a different definition for each person. So what does that mean for you? And then looking at how you can do that from the areas, how you can do it better, best, from the areas where you are disconnected and where you are not feeling as though you know yourself enough to be able to then serve another.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That wonderful awareness indeed. Better awareness, better servant leadership. You love to see it. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so what helps you to develop your self-awareness, Holland?
Really following the steps in the book. I go back to it often. I did during the pandemic when I got into the same funk that billions of people on the planet got into. And I thought, wait a second, I have simple tools. So the book, Consciously Connecting, is divided into the 12 months of the year. Each month has a theme. And then within that theme, there are 4 weekly, I want to say, activity, exercise. So it's a way that you get to know yourself better. So this isn't a book about list the 100 places you want to visit, that bucket list before you die, or, 10 people that you could have dinner with who may or may not be alive. And all of those are great activities to do. It's a little different journey here. This journey is about understanding yourself and reconnecting again at a deeper level. So, for example, one of my favorite months, and I often mention this month because it's so joyful, is June. And I always say, June, it's summertime, let's go out and play. And so when we think back to those memories of being a child and when school was out in June, how much joy we had and how we couldn't wait for fill in the blank. More time to play, more time to have fun, perhaps a vacation, perhaps summer camp, seeing friends and family we didn't see all year. So there's so many memories, barbecues, picnics, going to the zoo, climbing trees. And so June helps you to tap into that inner child and that space and place, which allows you to reconnect to having fun. And having fun is about following those impulses and having spontaneity. So the weeks are around indulging, if you will, yourself in connecting to being spontaneous, being impulsive. So if you're driving home from work or you're driving home from the grocery store and you pass that ice cream shop that you love, 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 and you never allow yourself to stop, that you follow that impulse, you get spontaneous and you stop and you go and have that, and remembering what it's like when you have that ice cream cone as a child. And there is that same joy very often as an adult, but we stop ourselves because it's like, well, I'm on a diet, or, oh, I shouldn't do that, or, oh, it's too close to dinner time, or we make all these excuses. We stop ourselves from being in that place of what we consciously desire at that moment and would like to tap into, that childlike play and that joy and that happiness. And then we wonder why it's hard to find that thread when we're in the workplace or when we're running a business. And so again, this is about helping you to tap into childhood, some of those childhood memories, and there are, again, other activities and things in June. And then this is about eventually getting to know yourself so well, working through these different weeks in the book, that you now are bringing your whole person into everything you do. You are bringing your whole person to work. You are bringing your whole person to your clients. You are bringing your whole person to your family, your friends, your community. And that comes from the knowing and the being.
Yeah, that KB toy, y'all. That knowing and being, y'all. That's right. That's right, indeed. That knowing and being. And I love that too, especially. And the beautiful thing about the book is, even though it's 12 months, 12 different chapters, you don't have to wait for that particular month. Just start ahead of time, indeed.
Well, so here's what I do that I think is a little different from any other book I've seen that may have a similar outline, is that when you are reading the foreword, what I do right away is let the reader know this is your journey. It's your life. It's your journey. You do not have to follow the outline of this book. You do not have to start the week on Sundays. You can start it on Wednesday. We all have different schedules. And so you don't have to start it when I've started it. If you like a particular chapter, and this was a question that came in early on from many folks as they were reading the book when it was first released, which is, hey, there's a certain month that I love, yet it's January and I want to skip ahead and do, July is all about independence and celebrating your independence and really looking at the areas where you may not be so independent. And they're like, that really resonates. And so again, I would say refer to this page, and it's your journey. And if that's what is calling you, and if that's what you want to explore first, do it. And it's kind of like you can get in a car in New York City and the destination is Los Angeles. So New York City is the beginning of the book. Los Angeles is the end of the book. There are numerous ways. There is not just one correct way to drive from New York City to Los Angeles. Someone may want to visit Chicago. That's not wrong. Someone else may want to visit Miami. Sure, it's a little out of the way. Actually, it's a lot out of the way. It's not wrong. You will still get to Los Angeles. It's just you're taking a different route. And when we start to really connect to ourselves, we step away from right and wrong. What's the right way? What's the wrong way? And we start to look at things a little differently, and we start to become braver, and you start to step out on a limb and go, well, wait a second. Just because something has always been done this way, what if we considered X? What if we did Y? Might it shorten the time span to get to the projected outcome, to get to the goal, to finish the task? And now we've got people going, oh, wow, right. You're right. It's always been done this way. Why has it always been done this way? And so we start to get braver when we take these bite-sized baby steps with the book, and we look at the varying chapters, and some people stay on the same chapter for 3 months. And then again, I'll get the emails. Is that right? I'm like, of course it's right. It's your journey. You just made it right. And then they're like, oh, I'm consciously connecting. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. So there are some people who have utilized the tool for the year and they didn't do all the chapters. That is the right journey for you. I gave you many options. You will choose. Do you go in order? Some people have said, I want to do the book backwards. I want to do it in reverse order. I'm like, cool. Let me know how that goes. Others stay with a chapter for a certain amount of time. Others say, week 3 in March, I don't really care about it. So I did week two in March twice. Great. Again, it is your journey, and you are going to tap into that mind-body connection is going to let you know how it resonates and what you need more of and what you're already consciously connected to.
Yeah, that's right. You heard that right, folks. Holland's got the whole buffet for you, y'all. That's right, the whole buffet and day. That's right.
I love that, the whole buffet. And not everyone wants dessert, and some people want 6 desserts. Right? And it's not wrong, because that's what a buffet is for. You design it the way you want to enjoy it.
That's right, indeed. A 6-pack of desserts, indeed.
I'm in. Is there a lemon tart?
That's right, all the lemon tarts, all the LTs, y'all.
Yummy.
Oh, man. So, my goodness, so since you've been on this wonderful podcast tour for years, because you've been on media like crazy, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these media appearances?
Oh my goodness. No one's ever asked that question. That's a good one. That's a stumper, Dom. Wow. Nothing comes to mind. That's a good, now I'm going to ponder that for probably the next 48 hours and then send you a list. That is such a great question. And nothing really comes to mind, because every audience, again, podcast, radio, television, where I've been, every audience has a different vibe, a different feel, and a different need. And so the questions arise out of what is most resounding for that particular interviewer or audience. And so there have been so many different fascinating variables to questions that nothing really pops into my brain.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes stuff pops out of the brain, so I probably already snuck a reference in there already, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. So, if your wonderful book, Consciously Connecting, was a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, what would it be and why? Well, I think it wouldn't be a particular food. It would be an entire meal because it is complete and it will give you what you need, whether you prefer appetizers, entree, or dessert. So I think I would start with some really fun appetizers, and those might be, oh, those little baby crab legs that you can just dip and just bite into, and just the crab claw. And I think I might want to have some of those dates with blue cheese and bacon wrapped around them. And yeah, so we might start with that, and then we could move on to, I don't know, we might want to have filet mignon. It might be salmon for you. It could be a scalloped potatoes with that, some nice green beans with slivered almonds, and are we getting hungry? And then of course, we're gonna have a lemon tart, and we'll have a fresh fruit tart, and we'll have a lot of fresh whipped cream, and I don't know, maybe an eclair and a Napoleon. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, so it's going to be the whole buffet, as you said. It's going to be all of that, and then you're going to choose what you want to eat the most of.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about indeed.
Are
That's
we
what I'm
hungry
talking about
now?
indeed.
Is it time? Is it time to eat? Is it time for a snack? Yes, people, snacks come with the podcast. You are free to get up and have a snack. Please empower yourself with a yummy snack and let us know what snack you chose to have.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's one of the side effects of listening to this podcast. You're gonna get hungry.
You're gonna get hungry. All right. So just know it. So maybe it's BYOS. Bring your own snack prior to the podcast. Maybe that's just something to to clarify with everyone. BYOS. Bring your own snack.
Alrighty, that's what I'm talking about. Man, this is a 7-star out of 5-star guess right here indeed. Adding to the flair. I love it. I freaking love it. That's right, BYOS. Now I have to put that somewhere on the website. It's like, hey, there will be food references, so bring your own snack.
Bring your own snack. Let us know what you're snacking on.
That's right indeed, and folks need to snack on your marvelous books. So any plans for future books? Because this book has been out for a few years and it's freaking great, but I'm pretty sure you got something else cooking in that wonderful brain of yours.
So I have a children's book that I have written, and talking to some publishers about that. And then there is another book that we'll say is more adult book, similar to Consciously Connecting. And I'm working on that, and I will, I'll share that in when it's time. I will share that. In the interim, I hope that those who are listening today who need a little bit of a thread to again reconnect to themselves, reconnect to their clients. Consciously Connecting is a wonderful, wonderful journey for you to take, and it's done in bite-sized pieces. Again, you'll never read more than 3 pages a week. It's anywhere from 1 to 3 pages that set you up for your week, and that week is 7 days of practicing that particular, again, activity, experience, lesson, however you want to language that for yourself. And it's as simple as there's 1 week where everyone that you come in contact with, you really put that device away and you become present in the moment, and you look at them and you have a real conversation, even if it's merely, hi, I'd like a pound of pastrami. How's your day? Great, thank you so much. And we tend to miss those moments because we are on devices so much, or we're looking for something in our bag, or we're focusing on something else, and we forget the humans out in the world who serve us, the Uber drivers, of asking and having a conversation with them. Hi, I noticed you have an accent. Where are you originally from? Oh my gosh, what an interesting place. I've been there. Or what is it like? Do they have mountains? Do they have summer and winter? Having these conversations, and you're not trying to get a BFF. You're not looking for a best friend from this experience. You're looking to connect at a deeper level with others. And when you do that, you connect at a deeper level within yourself and you learn about yourself. And that is really the transformational journey that I am offering to each one of you. And so it's utilizing this in a way where 7 days you're doing something a little different, or if you're already doing it, you're adding on to it. There are ways you can add on to that. And again, helping you to reconnect to yourself, which adds to families, it adds to communities, it adds to the workplace, and how we connect, communicate, and collaborate with others and ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's right. All the C's, y'all. That's right indeed.
All the C's. So take the journey of the C's as you consciously connect. And I always love to hear. So your listeners, please send me emails. Let me know what resounds the most for you and why. I always love hearing your stories. That's so important to me, to hear how you were best served and what resounded the most for you personally. That always gets me really excited.
Oh yeah, with a big old X indeed. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 2022, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would give the advice to myself to continue to be brave, continue to explore being vulnerable. And by doing that, I would know that it is one of the best gifts that I can give to myself, and the best way to continue consciously connecting.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about indeed. Be brave, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Sorry, it's been somewhat of a theme for these past few episodes. Had a past episode that's going out before this one about being bigger, braver, and better, y'all. So that's right. Holland's telling you the same. Be brave, y'all. That's right. So if you want to put on that warrior princess outfit, go ahead and put it on, y'all. That's right indeed. Rock that crown on top of it as well, y'all. That's right indeed. Not the dental crown though. Don't that ain't the crown we're talking. We're talking about.
Well, you may need that crown too, and those are okay. Those are that's all right. If you need that too, then you're just a double crowner. Like you've just got 2 crowns, or maybe 3 or 4. We don't judge here. We say that you just step into your magnificence, whatever that is.
Yeah, especially after you read this wonderful book and you felt like you ate 7 eclairs. So yeah, you might need those dental crowns.
Well, if you brush and floss, I think you'll be all right. I mean, it's working for me, so I can.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so for those who want to brush and floss their life and keep it sparkly white through your wonderful book and keeping up with your wonderful journey, Holland, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Best way is you can find me either on LinkedIn. And again, my name is Holland Haiis. So that is double L's in Holland, double I's in Haiis. So HOLLANDHAIIS like Sam. And if you do a .com, that'll take you to my website. Drop me a line. Let me know what you love about the journey of consciously connecting as you're reading the book and experimenting and playing with the different lessons and activities and experiences. And then let's connect on LinkedIn as well. And if you have any other questions for me that you've been inspired to think about during this interview, please reach out. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to hear what's on your mind and support you in any way that I can.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about, Indeed, that's right. Reach out to the Heavenly Holland herself, y'all. That's right, indeed. We're going to put the link to her site in the show notes. And feel free to connect her on LinkedIn as well. That's right, indeed. She still said LinkedIn, so that means she's gotten past some of the evil marketers who spam to high heaven. That's right,
Oh my
indeed.
gosh. Well, and again, if you're not a LinkedIn person, that's okay too, because I'm on Insta, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I've made it really easy. Everything is my name. I got my name before anybody else did because it's my name.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Good head and the shoulders, good branding too. It's simple and easy and effective, y'all. You love to see it and hear it, indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Holland?
Well, I want to thank you, Dom, for having me as a guest and sharing the opportunity with me to share some insight and hopefully inspire your listeners. I know you have so many listeners who love what you're bringing to the world. So thank you for what you are doing and what you continue to do. And so much gratitude for your listeners who have taken their valuable time today to consciously connect here. And again, I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you out there.
Thanks a bunch for sharing some of your time out of your day to listen to the Going North podcast. I would be really honored if you head over to the website goingnorthpodcast.com and share this episode with someone that you care about. And also, for bonus points, if you like, click on the shop tab on the website and grab some gear, advance others to advance yourself if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day and keep advancing north to your greatness.